Hi everyone, it's Andrea with Waste Consultants. Today we are going to talk about 4 reasons you need a waste ally. So raise your hand if you want to spend more time thinking about garbage. Spoiler alert, no one wants more of their time to go towards managing waste or recycling. No one wants to spend hours poring over invoices. And no one wants to spend weeks unsuccessfully trying to resolve an issue with their hauler. This is exactly why we've tailored our services to ensure that you have an ally. When things go wrong, and they can, we have your back. We make the calls, we check the documents, and we make sure the issue gets resolved. You need a waste ally because your time is valuable. What you don't know shouldn't be held against you. Waste mistakes are expensive, and you need market expertise. At the end of this presentation, you'll know how to protect all of your resources and prevent costly oversight. Your time is valuable. Let's jump right into that first one. So resolving waste and recycling disposal issues are time consuming. Why? For the same reason that it takes so long to resolve any vendor issue. Haulers have less incentive to cooperate if you're already paying them. And on top of that, they don't tend to be extremely well organized. The customer service rep we first speak with often has to get in touch with the driver or account manager to resolve this issue. The communication gap is just that, it's a gap. It means more time has to be spent to figure out how to resolve this issue, but it also means that there's an opportunity for the issue to fall through the cracks. Guys, I can't tell you the number of times I've had an account representative tell me that my account manager would be back would be back to me within the next 24, 48 hours. And guys, it never happened, not once. For waste service or billing issues that I resolve, I often find that at least 4 communication touches have to happen before the issue is completely resolved. Touches mean that I reached out to the appropriate person at least 4 times via email and or a phone call. This amounts to at least 15 minutes for each waste issue. I actually find that it takes me closer to 45 total minutes to fully resolve an issue. I currently have a waste issue sitting in my inbox that has taken 55 emails to address, and it's still not 100% resolved. You can't afford to spend this amount of time on a waste or billing issue, and neither can your staff. This is part of the reason why Vic Nussbaum of Southern Foods is so thankful he no longer has to manage his waste disposal issues. Your thoroughness allowed me to spend time managing the operations here at Southern Foods instead of managing our waste bills. Your time is your greatest asset, and we're passionate about making sure yours is protected. What you don't know shouldn't be held against you. So this is the second reason. Let me put this delicately. Haulers do not always have your best interest in mind. In fact, they rarely do. How do we know this? Among the thousands of clients we've helped, we've found that 90% of them were overpaying on their waste. And so many of our clients aren't passé about their waste. Many of them, like Tad, for instance, are proactive about spending and monitoring, or about waste spending and monitoring their invoices. But they still are overpaying on their waste management. And this is actually referencing Tad Gilbeer, who is the president of Tar Heel Capital. Just go to our website, go to the blog, and type that in the search bar. His story is pretty remarkable. So why is this the case? Because ultimately, they just didn't know what they didn't know. And what they didn't know was unfortunately being used against them. Their haulers wrote contracts in their own favor, and they had no idea. Their contracts were auto-renewing, or they didn't limit price spikes. They were paying outrageous fees, or were using the most expensive hauler in town. Haulers have normalized these practices, but that doesn't mean that you have to accept them. These practices all but guarantee that you're overpaying for waste and recycling disposal services. You deserve to have an industry expert find the gaps in your waste and recycling management. You need an independent party to look for, find, and resolve the gaps in your current waste removal process. When it comes down to it, you can't afford not to. So let's talk about why these waste mistakes are expensive. So ignorance isn't bliss. It's expensive. Not knowing what a good contract looks like can cost you thousands over the period of your term or contract length. Not knowing that waste fees are actually optional can cost quite a bit too. And not knowing market rates for waste and recycling disposal can be exorbitant. We had a client recently who was overpaying by $60,000 a year because they were using a pricey hauler. They thought that what they were being charged was normal. It seemed normal because they didn't know what other area haulers were charging, or if that hauler was charging other clients the same rates. To make matters worse in this instance, the client is a nonprofit entity, and the hauler actually sponsored some of their programs. The client wrongly assumed the hauler was providing them with good pricing because they were partners. When haulers contract with you, they plan on charging you increased rates over a certain period of time. Profit margins for the haulers almost always increase every year. We're talking 99% of the time. This isn't to say that the whole lot of them are bad or that they're all intentionally out to get you. On the whole, rate increases aren't actually a bad idea. Gas prices tend to go up, dump rates increase, and any perceptive business will likely take this into account. The problem is these rates typically go above and beyond standard cost of service increases. We've seen haulers increase their rates up to 2 times per year, with 15% increases each time. If you're paying $100 at the beginning of a 5-year term, you could be paying up to $440 by the end of it. That's a 340% increase. And most companies aren't just paying $100 for waste each month. They have multiple pieces of waste equipment at multiple locations. This is exactly why we always tell our clients that the more locations you have, the greater the savings typically are. Let's use a real-world example. So suppose you have 8 locations and 2 dumpsters each with $100 pickups at each location. Initially, you'll start out paying $1,600 for all the waste expenses at all locations. But at the end of the 5-year term, you'll have seen a 400% increase. Your new rate, over $6,470 each month. That's money that could have gone toward any number of costs, bonuses, apartment improvements, upgrades at your properties. But it can't because you didn't know that you were overpaying. You need market expertise. Sometimes you need expertise to help you understand what exactly is going on. If you want to buy a house in the south of France, as we all do, you'd likely need a realtor who spoke both French and English, right? You'd want someone who knew the housing market and someone who spoke both languages. So in a lot of ways, we're like that realtor. We know the waste industry and we speak its language. We know where to look for savings and we have a 95% success rate of finding them. We know how to make airtight contracts, how to prevent price spikes, and how to reduce fees. These are the things we do for our clients every day in almost every industry, and it's what we can do for you too. Guys, if you want to learn more about what it is we do and how we can help you, give us a call. Just use the link at the end of this video.